Welcome back to another morning yap session with me. It's currently raining. It's low-key nice, but I just got finished with my reading. But I wanted to kind of come on here as like not a sequel, but like my previous videos talking about addiction, kind of in like a weird way. I didn't really have my thoughts together. I was kind of just like spewing out whatever was in my mind just because I feel like that's the best way to make it feel organic. I don't, I have a lot of thoughts that I have, and it's nothing's really I don't really write them down, so I feel like this is a good way for me to just get out what I'm thinking. And I want to talk about the importance of, not the importance necessarily, but this epidemic, I guess you could say, that we're in right now of like loneliness, and the idea of being lonely. And a lot of us today, at least, and then I was this way too, and I talked to my friends and they felt the same way. You can't it's hard to differentiate being alone and feeling lonely, if that makes sense. I look at it in this way. I look at it as there was times where I would be by myself and I could acknowledge that I was alone and I didn't have anyone, and I would be content with that, right? And then there's other feelings of being lonely, feeling like you don't have anyone and feeling like you don't have anyone to rely on. And I would consider those two very different things. Even though they kind of work together, I would say they're very different things. And when you're lonely, you tend to diminish all the good things that have happened to you while you were with your friends or with your loved ones or whoever you may find enjoyment with in your times of pleasure. But pretty much when you're not able to differentiate the difference between being alone and feeling lonely, I feel like a lot of us get caught in this state, like I said in my last video, in a state of limbo. They're just in this in between where you're just stuck. And at least from my personal experience, what I've learned is that your alone time, and when you don't have anyone around you, is a very powerful tool, while at the same time it's also a very it's a powerful tool, and it's very scary to also deal with at the same time. Because especially overthinkers like I am myself, or I'm trying not to be, but overthinkers like myself and other of my friends, they also have this idea that they're alone. They don't have anyone, and it's just like in a place, like that's where they are. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I have surrounded myself with many people, like most other, I could say, people pleasers. We tend to surround ourselves with people that don't really have our best interests at heart, and yet we still try to be their friend and still try to get something out of, like, not get something out of them, but just like try to seek that validation from other people. And it's a very scary thing to go down. Like, it's very scary to go down that dark hole, because you're basically disrespecting yourself at that point. When you start to succumb to your loneliness and start putting people around you that aren't going to be for your better interest, it's going to start tearing you down, and you're going to start feeling even worse. Then you're going to start confiding in your negative thoughts, like I've said in my previous video. Feeding into negative energy is only going to produce negative results. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I was in a state of loneliness and being alone for a while. I think a lot of us went through that during quarantine as well. And that kind of, that whole quarantine thing, social animals not having that social outlet to go talk to people really messes some of the psyche of some people up. And especially, people like me and people like, just people, We're such social creatures that we crave any type of interaction with other people. And it's dangerous at the same time. I've definitely surrounded myself around some people that have not had my best interests at heart. It's something my professor said back when I was still in college. He said, show me your 5 closest friends and I can tell you exactly who you are. And when he said that, back when I was 18, I didn't really process it. I was still just wanting to go home, just smoke a fat ass bowl, get on the game, and just have a good time. Just feel good about myself. I was high, I was fucking playing games. It was a vibe. I can't lie, it was a vibe. But, fast forward a couple years later, I'm still doing the same thing, and I just finally had a breakthrough, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing, I'm not doing anything. I'm coming home after getting paid minimum wage, using most of that money to buy weed and just smoke it. It enforced my loneliness, and it enforced this idea that who my friends were and what I was doing was okay. And we all get caught up in that, without, especially when you put bad people by your side, they're obviously not going to have the best interests at heart. They're going to tell you to pack that bowl. They're going to tell you to smoke that bowl. They're going to tell you to roll that blunt. They're going to tell you to, take these mushrooms. They're going to, and I'm not saying they have bad intentions and that they're bad people, but it's in the sense that what is that doing for you in the long term? It's not something that you want to be stuck on in the long term, I say a lot, so my bad, but to get back to the difference of being alone and being lonely, you have to, at a certain point, you have to embrace your alone time, and you have to be stuck with your thoughts, and you have to think, It's a scary idea, and it sounds scary, especially to those who don't have a really comforting home or a comforting environment. It's definitely very hard. Not everyone wants to be in the present moment if their environment is shit, and I have the privilege of not having that terrible environment. But it's still something that is going to break you down to such a small level that you're not going to be able to get back up. As much as it sucks to be in the position that you are at, and as much as it sucks that maybe you can't see your friends anymore, as much as it sucks that maybe you're in college right now and you can't see your family, as much as that sucks, and as much as it would be so much nicer to just go confide in what feels right, it isn't right. You need to elevate yourself, especially in these times as in the generation that we're at, between, I'm assuming whoever could be watching this is between the ages of like 18 and 22. This is the time now where we have to really get in control of the things that we do and what we find pleasurable, so that we can excel ourselves into a place where those aren't worries anymore. Now, obviously, I'm not saying, once you get rich or once you get fucking, sustainable, you can start doing all the bad shit again, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, although it may seem fun and it may seem like an easy way out, it's still, like I said, the easy way out. Take a hike, for example. You go halfway through a hike, and let's say you get tired and you don't want to do it anymore, you don't want to complete it, but you're halfway through. Well, what's the point of turning back, You're still going to have to go the same distance, but you didn't gain anything. If anything, you might feel like more shit because you realize, damn, I should have just finished the hike. It would have been the same distance, and I actually completed it, and I can feel good about myself. Whenever we take the easy way out, we tend to diminish what we can do. And it's also like what's not perpetrated, I guess, in society, but it's something that a lot of people that I've noticed, they tend to take the easy way out they just tend to take the easy way out just so that they don't have to go through the hardships of learning and testing yourself and seeing if you can do something, But yeah, that was my morning yap session. I just wanted to kind of come onto here because I feel like the idea of loneliness and addiction kind of go hand in hand. We all battle with our addictions, and it's hard to sit with your thoughts, but it's that idea of being lonely that can kind of enable those thoughts to go back to your addictive ways. Everything, it's that saying, old habits die hard. You have to break that shit now, and you have to get in control now, or 20 years down the line, you're just going to be the crackhead on the street fucking asking for money. I'm not, obviously that's a fucking extreme, but like, You know, it's scary to think about like shit like that. You know, I don't want to be fucking homeless. I want to be successful, and that's how a bunch of other people feel. You know, that's a common. You know, no one wants to be unsuccessful. Everyone wants to be successful, but it's about the actions that you do and what you do to prevent those actions from happening again. I'm definitely not one to be the messiah of all of this and say I'm fucking perfect. I cut all my vices out. You know, I still struggle with my own addictions. You know, that's why I made that video, and I feel like that's why this could resonate a lot more. You know, you have to hold yourself accountable with the shit that you do. You know, it's gonna be a hard battle fighting it. You know, especially being lonely. You know, there's a big epidemic out there with some men that just feel like they have to be this, you know, closed off, self-centered person that's only focusing on yourself. You know, that's gonna destroy you so fast. So just have an open heart, be willing to give love to anyone who deserves it, and if anyone does something wrong to you, you know, don't hold anything against them. It's like I said before, whenever you feed your negative emotions, all you're gonna get is negative outcome. So why even, you know, why strive for something negative? And something I said the other day is that the universe is gonna reward us by giving us pain, and the universe will hinder us by giving us something that's pleasurable. When you think of it like that, and I really, you know, that's something that you really should think about. The universe is going to reward us with pain, and it's going to diminish us with pleasure. Think about that. And once you're able to process that, and you can find the beauty in pain, and you can find solace in growth, you will become a better person. You know, I'm still trying to get on that path. I'm still struggling with it, but it's something that needs to be said. It's something that I wholeheartedly believe in, and I hope that, you know, you guys can too. So, peace out.